The crowds. Well, at this time in the show, we always show you something that's trending on social media. How about this? You couldn't get...
Most Wimbledon stories begin with rankings, seedings, or predictions. Alexandra Eala's story begins somewhere completely different. Before she even stepped onto the grass courts of the All England club, something unusual had already happened. Everywhere she appeared, the attention followed. Practice courts suddenly attracted larger crowds, interviews generated remarkable interest online, and fans wearing Philippine colors became impossible to ignore. This wasn't simply because she was winning matches, it was because millions of people felt they were watching history unfold in real time. At just 20 years old, Eala wasn't carrying the expectations of a single tournament. She was carrying the hopes of an entire nation that had never seen one of its own reach this position in professional tennis. Every appearance became an event, every interview reached new audiences, and every victory seemed to inspire another wave of supporters. While many players arrive at Wimbledon hoping to make headlines with their performances, Alexandra Eala arrived with the spotlight already following her. That kind of attention cannot be created overnight. It is earned through years of steady progress, unforgettable performances, and a connection with fans that extends far beyond the tennis court. What makes her journey even more fascinating is that this rise didn't happen because of one lucky tournament or one surprise result. It was built step by step, season after season, until the tennis world finally had no choice but to pay attention. And once you understand everything that happened before Wimbledon even began, you'll realize why this tournament feels like the start of something much bigger than a single Grand Slam campaign. Long before the first ball was struck at Wimbledon, Alexandra Eala had already forced the tennis world to start paying closer attention. Her grass court season completely changed the conversation surrounding her career. Instead of simply gaining experience on a surface where she had played very little tennis in previous years, she began defeating established opponents and producing performances that surprised even experienced analysts. Every tournament seemed to answer another question about her game. Could she adapt to grass? She did. Could she compete with higher-ranked players? She proved she could. Could she handle the pressure of bigger stages? She continued delivering one confident performance after another. By the time Wimbledon arrived, she wasn't entering London hoping to create a breakthrough. She had already built the momentum herself. That confidence wasn't based on hype or social media excitement. It was backed by victories, improved consistency, and a level of maturity that had become impossible to overlook. Suddenly, conversations around Alexandra Eala shifted from discussing her potential to discussing what she might achieve next. That change may seem small, but in professional tennis, it changes everything. Yet while her results were becoming impossible to ignore, something even bigger was happening away from the court. Most players build a following after winning major championships. Alexandra Eala's journey has unfolded in a different way. Long before lifting Grand Slam trophies, she had already inspired one of the most passionate fan bases in tennis. Everywhere she competed, Philippine supporters appeared in larger numbers, creating an atmosphere rarely seen for a young player still establishing herself on the WTA Tour. Online, her interviews and match highlights regularly attracted extraordinary attention, while tournament organizers quickly realized that whenever Alexandra Eala appeared on the schedule, interest around her matches increased dramatically. But the most remarkable part wasn't simply the numbers, it was the emotion behind them. Fans didn't support her because she was famous. They supported her because they believed they were witnessing a historic journey. Every victory became a celebration shared across the Philippines and by Filipino communities around the world. That connection transformed every tournament into something much larger than an individual sporting event. By the time Wimbledon began, Alexandra Eala wasn't arriving alone. She arrived carrying the hopes, excitement, and belief of millions. And with that support came a level of pressure very few young players ever experience. Becoming a seeded player at a Grand Slam changes everything. Suddenly, you are no longer the dangerous outsider with nothing to lose. You become the player everyone expects to win. Every mistake receives more attention, every difficult game becomes a talking point, and every opponent steps onto the court believing they have an opportunity to create an upset. For many talented players, that transition becomes one of the hardest moments of their careers. Alexandra Eala faced exactly that challenge at Wimbledon. She wasn't simply trying to win another tennis match. She was attempting to prove that her recent success wasn't temporary. Every camera followed her. Every interview focused on history. Every question revolved around expectations. Yet instead of allowing that pressure to slow her down, she appeared to embrace it completely. Throughout her opening match, she played with remarkable composure, making aggressive decisions without hesitation and showing none of the nerves many expected. It was the performance of someone who trusted her preparation far more than she feared the occasion. And once the match began, that confidence became impossible to miss. When the first round match finally started, Alexandra Eala wasted very little time showing exactly why so many people believed she was ready for this moment. She established control early, dictated the pace of the rallies, and forced her opponent to react instead of attack. There was no panic after difficult points, no visible frustration, and no sign that history was weighing on her shoulders. Instead, every game seemed to strengthen her confidence even further. The final score reflected complete control, but those who watched the match understood that the biggest story wasn't simply the numbers, it was the authority with which she produced them. She looked like a player who belonged on one of the biggest stages in world tennis. Even experienced commentators praised her composure, decision-making, and ability to remain focused from the opening point until match point. Victories like this don't simply move players into the next round, they change perceptions. Suddenly, opponents begin preparing differently, analysts begin asking bigger questions, and fans begin believing that an even deeper run could be possible. One impressive victory can capture attention. Consistent performances begin changing expectations. Alexandra Eala now finds herself in that second category. Every match she wins increases the belief that she can compete with the very best players in the world, and every tournament adds another chapter to one of the fastest-rising careers in women's tennis. The road ahead remains extremely difficult, with experienced champions and higher-ranked opponents still standing in her way. But that challenge is exactly what makes the story so compelling. Fans are no longer asking whether she belongs on this stage. They're asking how far she can actually go. Around the tennis world, discussions have shifted from curiosity to genuine respect, while millions of supporters continue following every point with growing excitement. Regardless of who stands across the net next, Alexandra Eala has already demonstrated that she won't be intimidated by rankings, reputations, or expectations. And that mindset may become her greatest advantage as the tournament continues. Whether Alexandra Eala lifts the Wimbledon trophy this year or not, one thing has already become clear: her journey has entered a completely new chapter. She is no longer viewed simply as a promising young talent with exciting potential. She has become one of the most talked about rising stars in world tennis, earning admiration through her performances rather than predictions. Her success represents more than personal achievement. It has inspired millions of fans, brought unprecedented attention to Philippine tennis, and shown that players from every corner of the world can dream of competing on the sport's biggest stages. What makes her story so exciting is that it still feels like the beginning rather than the ending. Every tournament continues to reveal another level of her game, every victory adds another milestone, and every challenge provides another opportunity to prove herself against the world's best. If this Wimbledon has demonstrated anything, it's that Alexandra Eala isn't satisfied with simply making history. She wants to keep creating it. And if she continues performing with the same confidence, discipline, and fearless attitude that brought her this far, the biggest moments of her career may still be waiting just around the corner.